business. But after a while, I realized I want to make films again. Once I started to get my feet back under me, and I'd never made my own film. I'd made films for Disney, but this is an opportunity to make something of my own, even though it's a short. It was still something that I could express myself with. So I took that last 19 years, 20 years of my life, 30 years really, of kind of some of the things that I had experienced emotionally, and I boiled them down into this story about this lonely polar bear wandering the Arctic who goes through this loss and then ultimately gets his feet back under him and finds love and finds companionship again, which is exactly my story. 8 years ago, I met my business partner's sister-in-law, his wife's sister, and we fell in love and we got married 3 years ago. And so I thought this is a great opportunity to kind of metaphorically tell that whole story through this polar bear character.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Was she like, oh, was she like, wait? But with that, I mean, I don't know if this was even sort of part of what you wanted to do to include, but I have a late diagnosis of autism and ADHD, and I've often expressed like feeling of not belonging in spaces
Yeah.
or not being able to finding it hard to make friends. And so
Yes.
even and I had a lot of imaginary friends growing up as a kid. So even that sort of element, is that something that sort of come forth, or is that is that what you're not expecting to hear that
No,
it's
I
really
love hearing that actually. One of the things I try to do is when I write a story, what I just pitched to you was what it meant to me. But I also try to tell the story in a simple enough way that one of the ironies of making a story very simple is that it becomes more complex. And what I mean by that is that, if you can get a story down to its roots, down to its raw emotion, then your audience will bring their own stories to it. So in your case, you're bringing your story to it and you identify with it in that way. And that to me means I did my job right because I really want the audience to identify and empathize in their own way. They see themselves, that's what I want when I tell a story is I want the audience to kind of lose themselves in the story. And the way to do that is for them to see themselves, to empathize with that character. And in my way, I did it through my story, but you're bringing your own story too, which I find really, really cool.
it's the other thing about it is that it's about relationships. It's about sort of, it's